House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has now entered the 8th hour of his magic minute on the floor of the United States Congress. He is using his time to draw attention to the myriad disastrous provisions in this big, nasty, bloated budget bill, as well as the fact that Republicans tried to sneak this through in the middle of the night, have limited debate on the bill to 1 hour, and do not want the American people to know what's in this bill and how bad it will be for every single one of us. We are watching the Republican Party betray the Constitution and the American people. Please understand, this deadline of July 4th for this to hit Trump's desk is completely artificial. It's made up by Republicans. There is no rush. There is no reason not to have a healthy discussion. There's no reason not to inform the American people of what's in this bill. And let's be real, this bill is more than 900 pages, and most Republicans don't know what's in it. In fact, there was reporting that came out yesterday that showed that Donald Trump doesn't know what's in this bill. This is his bill. This is the backbone of his Project 2025 installation in the United States. This is his plan to gut healthcare from Americans, take away food aid from poor children, and give a giant tax break to the billionaires, all while adding trillions of dollars to the national debt. But Trump himself and the Republicans voting for this bill don't even know what's in it, which is why they're outright lying to the American people. Mike Johnson outright lied and said that people will not lose their health care as a result of this bill, and there weren't going to be any cuts to Medicaid. It's close to $1 trillion of cuts to Medicaid, and the Congressional Budget Office estimated that 17 million Americans will lose their health care. But let's get back to Hakeem Jeffries and what he's doing on the floor right now. Also, forgive this. I know it's 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. I've been up since about 2 a.m. tracking what's going on in the House and then just unable to sleep. But I'm not the only one not sleeping. Hakeem Jeffries isn't either. So let's watch this clip real quick.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in strong opposition to Donald Trump's one big, ugly bill. This disgusting abomination, the GOP tax scam that guts Medicaid, rips food from the mouths of children, seniors, and veterans, and rewards billionaires with massive tax breaks. Every single Democrat stands in strong opposition to this bill because we're standing up for the American people. Mr. Speaker, I've heard a lot from my Republican colleagues who've expressed pride in this accomplishment. I ask the question, if Republicans were so proud of this one big ugly bill, why did debate begin at 3:28 a.m. in the morning? Republicans are once again, which has been the case, Mr. Speaker, through every step of this journey, tried to jam this bill through the House of Representatives under cover of darkness. But I'm here today to make it clear that I'm going to take my time and ensure that the American people fully understand how damaging this bill will be to their quality of life. We have a limited debate where the relevant committees of jurisdiction have been given 15 minutes each on a bill of such significant magnitude as it relates to the health, the safety, and the well-being of the American people. And because that debate was so limited, I feel the obligation, Mr. Speaker, to stand on this House floor and take my sweet time to tell the stories of the American people. And that's exactly what I intend to do. Take my sweet time on behalf of the American people, on behalf of their health care, on behalf of their Medicaid. Your hands off our Medicaid. Keep your hands off our health care.
Okay, let's be clear. I am no fan of Hakeem Jeffries. He is part of the establishment Democrats who have been completely insufficient in their response. Is it even resistance against fascism? But what he's doing right now is really important for a number of reasons. One, he's delaying this vote by now 8 hours. That's a record for the magic minute on the floor of the House. The magic minute is where there is deference given to the majority and minority leader, so that it is a courtesy extended to them so that they can just talk as long as they're able on these issues, even though other members are limited in how long they can speak or if they can even speak at all. And so he's using that to the fullest extent. Kevin McCarthy, I believe, had the previous record for the magic minute. And it's not about breaking a record. What it's about is delaying this bill so that he has a chance to educate the American public. And by the way, while this vote is being stalled, you should be calling your Republican electeds. Are they going to change their mind? Probably not, because what we saw in the middle of the night was that there were a whole host of holdouts, mostly like far right, MAGA, Freedom Caucus or whatever, who wouldn't vote for this bill. And then there were moderates and far right wingers who voted against it. And, Mike Johnson, how embarrassing for him, how embarrassing that what should have been an easy pass was something that took hours and hours and hours, and he went to the floor without having the votes. But Mike Johnson's classic tactic, he's used this many times, is that he wants to see who's going to vote against it or who's going to decline to vote. Then he gets you on the floor and then he bullies you, right? He'll just keep the vote open as long as it takes to shake you down, to threaten you, to intimidate you into changing your vote. He'll make people get on the phone with the president. He'll make people get on the phone with Russell Vought, the architect of Project 2025. And he threatens and intimidates Republicans, whatever is necessary to strong arm them into changing their vote. Because the Republicans cannot govern without coercion, without intimidation. They can't govern legitimately. And also the fact that they are trying to sneak these things through in the middle of the night, as Hakeem said, 3-something in the morning, shows that they don't want to be transparent with the American people. They don't actually want to have a legitimate legislative process with transparency. They don't actually think they know this bill is not good for the American people. The latest polling shows that Americans oppose this bill 2-1. And those that are not that opposed, if you educate them about what's actually in the bill, the opposition becomes 80-something% of Americans disapprove. This bill is devastating for all of us. Republicans know that. They don't want you to know what's in it because they don't want to pay the consequences. They want you to pay the consequences, but they don't want to pay the political consequences of having crammed this down our throats. So Jeffries is still going.
Republicans are trying to take a chainsaw to Social Security, a chainsaw to Medicare, a chainsaw to Medicaid, a chainsaw to the health care of the American people, a chainsaw to nutritional assistance for hungry children, a chainsaw to farm country, and a chainsaw to vulnerable Americans. But as House Democrats, we're here to make clear, Mr. Speaker, we're determined to take a chainsaw to Project 2025. A chainsaw, a chainsaw, a chainsaw to Project 2025.
Okay, cool, my dude. How you gonna do that? How you gonna do that? But seriously, if Republicans vote this through, then it has to be politically devastating for them, right? We know that so many of the Republicans are freaking out about this because they know how unpopular it is. And they have outright said they are concerned that they will lose their seats in the midterm. They are deeply concerned that this is going to cost them all their seats. It will cost them the House, and it may even cost them the Senate in the midterms. This is a politically devastating bill. What they're hoping is that you won't notice, that you won't be educated enough to vote against them. They're also hoping that they will run unopposed in these deeply red districts, which is why it's so important that you run for something, that you consider running for elected office, that your district considers putting forth a Democratic opposition in these districts where Republicans get voted in because there's no opposition, and then they can implement these devastating fascist policies without fear of losing their seats. It's really important that we form a strong opposition right now. And I think what Jeffries is doing is trying to educate the American people. When we talk about effective resistance against fascism, one of the really important elements is creating a backlash effect. When they do something negative and terrible, it creates an opportunity for us to respond. It creates an opportunity for us to create a backlash effect. And I think that's what Jeffries is doing here. This bill is terrible. It's god-awful for all of us. But that doesn't mean that the fight against fascism is over. What it means is that we have to fight harder because now more people are being harmed. So how do we use this situation to create a backlash effect and build opposition?